18-year-old Helen Tree has an unusual problem when it comes to eating.
I'm absolutely terrified of food. If someone puts a plate of fruit or vegetables in front of me or anywhere near me, I feel sick and I just burst into tears usually.
Her fear of fruit and veg is so extreme she can only eat one thing. Helen is addicted to pasta.
Pasta's my favourite food. Every day for dinner I have pasta, and I have done for years, and I probably will do forevermore.
Helen dreams of becoming a high-flying politician, but unless she can overcome her pasta problem, she's risking both her career and her health. Getting her to beat her addictions will be the job of clinical psychologist Stephen Briers and nutritionist Natalie Savona. Natalie's job is to encourage her to eat new foods.
Torn it in my mouth.
If you think, oh, I don't like it, I'm not going to try it, then we won't get anywhere.
While Stephen will try to wash away Helen's tears by diving deep into her psychological fears.
The longer she can stay down there, actually her anxiety will begin to sort of drop down.
Over the next 4 weeks, they'll try and reverse a lifetime of bad eating habits.
That looks like sick. I can't eat that.
Grade A student Helen Tree knows a thing or two about politics, and at just 18, she's already had experience of working in the Houses of Parliament.
Politics is a huge part of my daily life. I'm a member of a political party, I'm part of the Politics Society. When I leave university, I definitely want to go into politics somehow.
But if Helen ever does make it into government, her food policy will need a serious rethink. She's addicted to pasta, plain pasta.
Every day for dinner, I have pasta. It's been years and years and years since I've had meat and veg and things like that. I honestly couldn't tell you when it was.
Helen eats enormous amounts of plain pasta with only a side order of tomato ketchup to spice it up.
People always assume that what I eat is boring and repetitive, but for me, eating is just eating. I don't enjoy eating food. It's a necessity for me.
When pasta isn't available, Helen's alternatives of cheese, chips, chocolate and bread are far from healthy. But any attempts to try new foods always end in tears.
I don't want it in me. I don't want to eat it. I know I won't like it, so what's the point?
She gets quite an extreme reaction to food. She doesn't like touching it particularly. She just ends up crying.
I don't know what it is that scares me. It's probably the unknown. I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know what it is.
None of Helen's 5 siblings have problems with food, and they struggle to understand her crying over carrots.
I find it really annoying. I just think, why won't you eat normal food? And why won't you just be normal, please?
Helen's family have learned to live with her odd eating, but in just 2 weeks, she'll be leaving her home in Kent to start a new life at Queen Mary's University in London.
I'm dreading meeting new people and telling them about my eating habits. It's quite embarrassing. I don't want anyone to think that I'm weird. I just don't want it to set me back in my future career.
I think this is a really important time for Helen. I think that she needs to address this now and change her way of eating, even if it's just small steps.
I've tried as much as I can. I've encouraged her to eat. I can't think of any other way as a family that we can make her, force her to eat something that she's totally against eating.
Helen's determined to deal with her diet once and for all, but knows that once she goes to uni and loses the support of her family and friends, it won't be easy.
It's a habit of a lifetime, and I think it'll be really, really hard to crack that. And I'll be amazed if I do, to be honest, because the reaction is so strong.
It's day 1, and Helen has come to London for her first meeting with the experts.
Hello.
Hello.
Stephen.
Hello.
Hi there, I'm Natalie. Good to meet you.
Angie.
You up for things, ready to go?
I'm quite nervous, but definitely excited as well.
So given that you're so excited, shall we just get cracking?
Yep, let's do it.
Yep.
Natalie and Stephen have a surprise in store for Helen, which they hope will get her into the right frame of mind before the hard work begins.
Helen, you're going to be doing something which I suspect is going to be very, very hard for you over the next few weeks, and you need all the reasons to keep going that we can muster. Hopefully we've got some extra ones for you here, so we're going to leave you here to watch this, and then we'll come back and talk to you about what you've seen, OK?
We're all here for you, darling. We're all going to try and help you. We know it's not going to be an easy thing for you to do. You've got issues and you've got to deal with those with your food. But everybody, all your brothers and sisters, all the family, we're all here for you to help and encourage you.
I don't know how you've managed to stay so slim and gorgeous all these years with the diet that you have, and I wish that you could tell me the secret, but I also really worry about you.
We're all worried about you not eating. That's been a sore point with us for a very long time. You used to eat well when you was a young baby. Why you changed, I'll never know.
I know your brothers and sisters tease you sometimes, and perhaps we all do, but we just want to see you eat a reasonable plate of food.
You look like a baby when you try new food. You look like a baby spitting out something that they don't like. You need more in your diet. You need something green now and then. I don't want to see you keeling over from a heart attack. I don't want to get a phone call like that.
Before anything happens to me, I would love to see you eating a healthy dinner. Please do it for my sake.
So what was that like?
It was really hard to see that everyone I care about talking about the thing that I try and keep private, and I don't know, just seeing how much everyone cared and how much it meant to people.
Beck was saying you're a bit like a baby. How did that feel, hearing that?
That was really hard to hear, because when I do try new foods, I am like a baby, and I know I am, but I can't change that. It's just a phobia I have, and some people are scared of spiders, I'm scared of food, and I can't change that because it's built into me.
Are there any particular comments that when things get tough over the next few weeks are going to stay in your head and help keep you motivated?
Seeing my nan talk, and I know it's always bothered her, and I just really want to do it just to prove to her that I can do it, because she means the world to me.
Come on.
In case Helen was in any doubt after hearing from her loved ones, Natalie and Stephen have one last nutritional wake-up call, which they hope will teach her a valuable lesson.
Where have we brought you?
School.
You haven't really moved on, have you, in terms of the variety of your diet since the time, the age when you were at school?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Helen, well, let's have a look at this safe food of yours, all right? Here we have a big vat of the stuff.
Yep.
I think if we're going to get any idea of the actual quantities that you are having, we're going to need a hand.
Being dished up are 365 plates of pasta. That's one for every day of the year.
Lots of it. It looks boring. If you walked into a restaurant and saw tables like that, you wouldn't eat there. So much of it.
Bored yet?
Yeah.
Please tell me that is it. You look quite sort of zoned out.
Yeah. It's all the same colour and it looks boring, and there's a lot of pasta there.
You've said this is boring, it's very limiting, but there are major health implications going on here as well. You are living essentially off mounds and mounds of white flour. You know, vitamin C. Where is it in your diet?
It's not there.
Yeah. Do you feel good on it?
It leaves me feeling bloated sometimes and not bursting with energy at all.
Yeah.
I think it's shown me exactly what I do eat and what I'm missing out on, I suppose.
We only have 4 weeks to work with you, Helen. What would you like to achieve by the end of that time?
I'd like to be able to go to a fancy event or a business dinner or something like that and fit in.
All right, so in 4 weeks' time, you are going to attend a formal do and you are going to be eating just like everybody else. How does that grab you?
Terrifying, if I'm honest, but the thought that I could possibly do that is so exciting, and yeah, it's really exciting. I'd love to do it.
Good.
Definitely.
Helen now has just 1 month to overcome her unusual eating habits.
This is going to be a really, really tough one. She's so entrenched in that diet of pasta and pasta and pasta and a bit of chocolate thrown in for good measure that it's going to be a miracle if we can really get her way on to having a proper meal.
It was mind-boggling to think that that is what I put in my body. And it made me feel horrible. I can't believe it, to be honest. It made me feel disgusting, and especially with my nan as well. To watch her say, I want to see you eat a proper meal before I'm gone. I want to share it with her, and I really want to do that, and it is a big motivator for me.
Today, Helen is meeting with Natalie to begin the process of weaning her off pasta.
Helen's blocked out some major food groups from her diet. She doesn't have any vegetables, she doesn't have any fish, meat, and hardly any fruit. And we've really, really got to get her beyond that. And what I want to look at is, what are her food rules? Where do they come from? And where does she break them herself? And how can I help her break even more of them? Hello, Helen. Come on in.
Thank you.
As you can see, lots of different foods on the table. And first up, I just want to get an idea of what you will and won't eat and why.
I don't like mushy textures or soft textures too much. I like things to be crisp and crunchy.
So you've just said to me that you really like crisp, crunchy foods and you don't like soft foods. But actually, most of your diet is pasta and chocolate, neither of which are crisp and crunchy. So shall we investigate oranges?
If we have to.
We could go off and go to an Italian restaurant and have a plate of pasta.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, I'm not going to let you get away with that. OK, so orange. What goes through your mind seeing all that pulp?
It sounds gross, but the texture of it reminds me of vomit. And I really don't like drinking it when it's got bits in it. Yeah.
Because if you think, oh, I don't like it, I'm not going to try it, then we won't get anywhere. But if you go, OK, let's see if I can tolerate this.
I don't like the texture of it.
OK.
Yeah.
For now, the pulp is a step too far.
Yeah.
Oranges are good for the immune system as they contain vitamin C. But to get the whole 70 milligrams from one, Helen would have to eat the pulp and the rind too. Instead, she could get her recommended daily amount of 60 milligrams from 9 strawberries, 30 blackcurrants, or if she can't face fruit, half a cup of broccoli will give her the same amount.
Now, what do you say to these?
I don't want it in my mouth.
So in any given moment, you're not going to particularly want to do the things I'm going to suggest.
Do one day, but I can't.
Okay.
No, I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
Over the next hour, Natalie tries to tempt Helen with a variety of different foods, from bananas to peppers to celery. But each time, it's the same old story.
There's no point trying, I'm not going to eat that. It smells of onion. I hate the smell of onion. I never want to eat fish or meat.
You want to be a vegetarian?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to try it.
Carrot?
I've been in situations before where people have tried to get me to eat carrot and I really don't want to eat it, and it's in my head that I don't want to eat it.
You can give it a go?
I just want to. I want to so much. I can tolerate it, just.
Well, bear in mind that you wouldn't choose to eat anything other than your pasta and your chocolate given half a chance.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about seeing the tape of my family, and it's a really big motivator for me. It's been 18 years, and to sit here in an hour, it's incredible, really.
Yeah. The fact that there were so many tears when confronted with these new foods really strange. I mean, I've had people spit them out, vomit, gag, refuse to eat them. But hers was this constant tears. There were certain foods she would not try. No way. There was no budging her at all. But now, the real test is Helen going back home and really start the hard work. Practice, practice, practice.
I think with Natalie, she works well with me because she offers gentle encouragement, but when she needs to be firm, she is firm with me, and I think I need that when I'm unsure whether to try a food or not. She tells me just to do it and not to think about it, and I think that works really well for me.
To help Helen get started, Natalie has sent her home with a hamper of healthy homework tasks, which she'll have to carry out every day.
Time to kiss that old diet goodbye. First task is turn your back on temptation by clearing your kitchen of all pasta. Cheese, ketchup, chocolate and crisps must go. The food in the hamper will be for the next 4 weeks.
Binning the bags of pasta is the only way to get temptation out of harm's way.
Seeing this sheet of instructions from Natalie is quite scary for me, and that's basically what I eat every day. So getting rid of all those foods is very scary. I don't know what I will eat. Ugh, don't want onion.
Mushroom? Banana?
No.
Beans?
Maybe.
And a pepper?
No.
Tomatoes?
No.
No?
No.
Don't like
No,
tomatoes?
don't like tomatoes at all.
And yet you eat tomato ketchup?
Yeah, that's horrible.
The one thing I was a little bit surprised at, actually, that I thought would be an easy option for her was that she'd go for the tomatoes, because she loves tomato ketchup. I've never expected her to eat everything. I think it would be a huge task to get her to eat a lot of things, but maybe that one will come.
Helen grew up in Sittingbourne, Kent, with her 2 brothers and 3 older sisters. Her fussy eating has been a problem since infancy.
It started for Helen when she was very young, when she was a toddler. I think the first 2 years of her life she ate normally.
I mean, as a baby, she used to love risotto, so rice, peppers, all sorts of food.
But over the next 4 years, Helen's diet rapidly got worse. By the age of 7, she'd become hysterical when faced with new foods.
I used to get to the stage where you think you've got to eat something other than pasta. But in the end, it just became a battle of wills, and she was so distraught, and it was upsetting me.
Eventually, the family gave up trying to make her eat normally and now avoid the subject.
No one even suggests to Helen anymore to try anything different. Because it's just too much of a sticking point. She gets too upset, and that leads us to get upset about it. So it's just ignore it, really.
Today, Helen has her first session with clinical psychologist Stephen Briers. It's a chance for him to probe Helen's childhood for the origins of her food phobia.
Do you want to tell me when these eating problems first began?
I'm told as a baby I used to eat everything, pretty much. My earliest memory probably is when I was about 3 years old. I was force-fed peas and I really needed the toilet and I wasn't allowed to go, so I was force-fed until I ended up wetting myself at the table. And ever since then, I haven't really eaten much since. It's kind of spiralled downwards and I'm where I am now.
OK, well, that sounds like a fairly traumatic incident. So what happened after that, then?
I wouldn't like eating foods I wasn't comfortable with. I don't really remember too much else apart from that, to be honest.
So what happens to you if you are presented with a food that you are convinced, for whatever reason, that you won't like?
If I try something I don't like, I usually heave and I hyperventilate and start to cry. I can usually tell if I will like it or not in my head before trying it.
Yeah. In a sense, it's quite a sort of child's way of thinking, isn't it? That you often hear kids rejecting things just on the basis of what it might be like, as opposed to experience of what it is like. Did it cause a lot of aggro within the family? Did people get very frustrated with you?
Yeah, I come from a big family who enjoys their food. I think people couldn't really understand that I didn't like food.
I suppose one thing that's going through my mind is, you describe a big family, that's lots of competition for attention.
Yep.
Yeah. Were you conscious as a child of wanting a bit more focus?
I wouldn't say conscious of it, because there were so many of us. Most of us all got on well. We'd play together and do stuff together. Oh, I'm not really sure about that, to be honest.
Okay, so it sounds as if it has set you apart a little bit within your family. You give me quite a lot to mull over, and then hopefully we can start to think about how we can take this forward. Helen comes from a big family, and her negative behaviour around food has probably been quite an effective source of sympathy and attention over the years. If I'm to help her, I'm going to have to teach her how to draw on some of her inner strengths to face the things that she currently fears.
It was quite hard for me because I've never really spoken about my food problems with anyone. I don't even talk to my family about these things, so it was really odd, but good thing to do because it's someone impartial and someone who doesn't really know the situation and can see it from an outsider's point of view, which I think probably will help.
Helen's diet isn't the only puzzle in her life. For years, she's been in and out of hospital with complaints of migraines and regularly suffers from fatigue. Natalie wants to know exactly what a diet consisting solely of pasta has been doing to Helen's insides.
I'm concerned for Helen's health because the sort of restricted diet she's eating, it would be really, really strange if she wasn't deficient in something.
I'm quite an ill person, I'd say. In the past few days, I've been feeling really unwell, so I haven't really done much. Haven't really eaten much either. I'm a bit worried about the blood test results. If that's the reason why I do get ill and things like that, I think it will hit home a lot harder, which I'm not sure I'm ready for.
Dr. Pixie McKenna is a GP with a special interest in eating problems. She's analysed Helen's blood tests, and this morning she and Natalie have come to hear the findings.
I suppose I'm interested primarily to know how you feel at the moment, or, you know, on a day-to-day basis.
At the moment, I feel really ill.
Yeah.
But I'm really tired as well.
Right.
I've got a sore throat.
The problem is that you are iron deficient. You've got anemia, which, look, when we look at your diet...
It's no surprise.
It's no surprise at all, is it?
No.
Really? You know, we all know where we get iron, and we certainly don't get it from anything that you're eating.
In order to illustrate Helen's anemia, Dr. Pixie will use a model to show how her low iron affects her blood.
The reason we need iron in our blood is iron is a vital component of red blood cells. And the red blood cells transports oxygen around the blood. And if you don't have enough oxygen, you feel tired, weak, exactly the way you feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's have a look at some healthy red blood cells.
Healthy red blood cells are full of iron and are bigger, passing through the body slowly.
Because they're going more slowly, they're getting to the tissues and they're delivering oxygen, they're doing their job efficiently.
But anemic blood often has less iron, and this affects the size of the red cells.
We're going to show you what's going on in your circulation, because your red blood cells, they're smaller than they should be. Now, what that means is that they go along your circulation. They're going pretty fast, don't you think?
Yeah.
Now, of course, what that means is they're flying around at high speed, so they're less efficient at delivering oxygen to the tissues. And that's actually why you feel tired and run down all the time.
Iron from vegetables like broccoli gets absorbed into our bodies by the small intestine. But iron alone won't help anemia. The gut prefers an acidic environment for the iron to pass through into our bloodstream. Eating acidic citrus fruits such as oranges is essential for the maximum amount of iron to be absorbed.
The thing is, Helen, it's not really that much of a surprise, is it, that you're anemic? But the good news is that there is something you can do about it. You could be eating iron-rich vegetables such as spinach. It might not be easy, but it's really straightforward.
I always knew that my diet was unhealthy, but I never really realised the impact that it's had, and I kind of brushed it off because I always thought that I was okay in comparison to everyone else. But the deep down damage is there, and it is quite scary.
Pixie's cautionary words have struck a chord. So, back home, Helen hits the hamper. Natalie's asked her to try several new veggies each day.
To see what it's like. Oh, it's horrible. I can still taste it in my mouth and I'm really not keen on it. I really don't like it, to be honest. The disappointing thing is I thought that'd be the nicest thing out of all of them. And if I don't like that, it just puts me off trying other things even more.
The final challenge is only 3 weeks away, but Helen's still on the starting block when it comes to new foods. So, Stephen's arranged to meet her at the local sports ground for a rather unusual training session.
What Helen needs to do is develop a different kind of identity around eating. And today what I wanted to do is to learn a skill from a much more kind of empowered, assertive, confident bit of herself. Helen, what I want to do today is think about this person that you seem to become around food, because it is like almost a personality that you assume, don't you? I mean, if you can imagine yourself looking in from the outside, how would you describe the person that you would be seeing?
Completely childish, wimpy, just quite pathetic really, I suppose.
Okay. If you weren't like that in relation to food, and in fact were completely the opposite of that, who would you be? Describe that person for me.
Not nervous at all.
Do you think this person would like risks?
Yeah.
And okay, so a bit of risk taker.
Optimistic attitude.
So you need to think of this group of more confident, positive characteristics as almost representing a distinct persona or personality. I don't know, you might even want to give her a name. Does a name come to mind?
Sally.
Sally. Okay, all right. So headstrong Sally. Okay. The trick for you is to start acting as if you were her.
Okay.
All right? To begin with, you won't feel like her.
Yep.
But I want you to sort of close down the option of always defaulting into this vulnerable, childlike mode.
To encourage Helen to really adopt the role of her more confident alter ego, Stephen is determined to put an extra spring in her step.
We have a task for you, which I hope you are going to be able to approach in a rather sort of different spirit. You must be wondering why I brought you here.
Yep.
Shall I show you what you're going to be doing in an hour's time?
Yep.
Gentlemen, ladies, demonstration, please. So this is the gentle art of bocking. Can you imagine yourself doing this?
No. I have no coordination or balance.
For me, the point is not that we turn you into an excellent bocker. It's to do with the way that you approach it.
I've done nothing like this before in my entire life. I have no coordination or balance. I'm terrified as well. It looks like you break your ankle really easily.
We'll get you all strapped in.
Right.
So, Helen, how are you feeling?
I'm not allowed to say scared.
No, you're not. Thinking about Strong Sally, what would she be feeling at the moment?
Really excited.
Uh-huh.
Yep, I really want to do it.
And how do you think it's going to go? Your face. God, what you like. Helen, that doesn't look like Strong Sally sitting there at the moment.
It'll be great.
Right, I want you to say that to me again. Look at me this time and say it like you mean it.
That'll be great.
Good.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
Up. Always keep moving. So you move from side to side, always on your heels.
Okay.
Okay?
Helen, what's your face saying to me at this point?
I'm nervous.
Yeah. Okay, so fake it. Hold your head up.
Okay.
Look calm, look composed. You're going to do this.
Starting to walk faster. That confidence is starting to show.
Okay, Helen, remind me how Strong Sally feels about this activity.
I can do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really good fun.
She's starting to sort of feel her way into this more confident, more positive way of responding to situations, just as this kind of Strong Sally alter ego that she's created would do. Holding that role, keeping herself in role, is of course the real challenge, because it's very easy when you're feeling fearful to let that slip. We have one final part of the challenge. I want you to see whether you can do one length of this track unsupported.
Cool.
All right?
I can do that.
I'll come with you.
Yep.
I like your attitude. I can do that. That's what I want to hear. Blimey, this is quite a brisk pace, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feeling scared?
No.
I can't believe you've achieved this much in such a short time. It's brilliant.
Come on, nearly there, hang on.
Hey! Woo! Well done, you.
When I first saw the challenge, I thought there was absolutely no way I could do that. But I actually did it, and it feels incredible. And I think if I use that frame of mind when I'm trying new foods, I think it'll be really beneficial for me.
Today, Helen's moving from the family home in Kent to start her new university life in East London.
I'm a bit apprehensive about going to uni and eating in front of people, I think, because what I do eat at the moment is quite weird and quite childish, and I don't want them to judge me. I haven't really tackled vegetables yet, and I really don't want to try them. I'm not sure what it is about them, but the thought of a vegetable repulses me.
Laptop. It's a new life and an ideal time for Helen to finally make changes to her diet. With pasta banned, she's currently surviving on cheese sandwiches and jacket potatoes. But with 3 years' study ahead of her, it's far from ideal.
I just hope she doesn't forget all her bits she's supposed to be doing with her food. I think if she wants to fit in, she's going to try to eat some different foods. I'm hoping so anyway.
Really?
As Helen gets to know her new flatmates, it's not long for her limited diet raises a few eyebrows.
I don't think I realised actually at first, like how much, what that actually meant. I thought, okay, she just doesn't maybe eat a few different things or something.
We were talking sort of, we'd take it in turns to cook for the whole flat each night. Sort of everything that we went through as possible menu ideas. She said that she couldn't eat that.
If I say, oh, we're going to cook this, would that make her feel really uncomfortable? Because then she would feel she has to eat it.
While Helen settles into her new life, Natalie wants Mum and Becky to get a taste of her old one.
Right, so I've got a favour to ask of you, because Helen's going through a lot with all of these changes, and there's one thing that I think might give her that extra bit of support, and that is that you two follow Helen's old diet to the letter for a week.
A week? Oh, I couldn't imagine a week of eating that food. No. I don't even like tomato ketchup. No. It's really grim. And we'll put on about 2 stone.
I don't think Helen has any idea of quite how rubbish she must feel on a day-to-day basis, because that's her norm.
Yes,
Whereas if you experience that a bit, you can then explain that to her. So is that, you know, yes or no?
I think I could do it for a few days. I'd be willing to try it for that. I feel the same. I couldn't do a whole week of it. I don't mind having to go for 2 or 3 days. I love it, but I don't love it that much.
So, with 2 members of Helen's family starting their new diet of pasta and ketchup, the question is, how long will they stick to it?
It's quite inoffensive food, you know, pasta and ketchup, I eat that all the time, but not just together. I love pasta actually, but I like it with a nice creamy sauce. It's just so unappealing and boring. The thought of eating it does make me feel a bit queasy, because she really is a freak. It just, on its own, it just tastes slimy. It just has no taste.
I didn't think you could have this strong a reaction to ketchup. It does not belong with pasta. It's horrible.
It's got to the stage where you just put it in your mouth and swallow it quick. You get rid of it.
That's all I can do to swallow it. It's horrible.
It's making me heave, actually. I'm sorry, I can't eat this. I can't eat anymore. I cannot eat any more of that.
One day in, and both have called it a day.
Good riddance.
As Helen's family abandon her old diet, at uni, Helen's getting stuck into a new one. But it's deep fried.
Can I have chips and pizza, please?
Yeah, open or wrap?
Open, please. I've come to the kebab shop for my tea because I've got to eat, really. It's been hard because I haven't really fancied anything, haven't wanted to try anything new. There's not a lot else that I can have, so I'm relying on chips. Thank you very much.
Not quite the iron-rich diet Natalie would approve of. For over 15 years, Helen's response when faced with new food has been to cry.
Thank you.
Stephen's arranged to meet her mum and sister to try and find out why.
The truth of the matter is I'm still a little vague about the causes of Helen's eating disorder. There's a lot of emphasis that's placed on this story about the force feeding of the peas when she was quite little. But I'm wondering whether there weren't some other factors which may be equally significant.
To help solve the puzzle of Helen's crying, Stephen's constructed a giant jigsaw. Each piece represents a significant event in Helen's childhood struggles with food.
Some of these pieces have things on them already, which we suspect may be part of the picture, but which it would be good for us to talk about. Some of the pieces are blank, feel entirely free to take a pen and to go and write something or draw something to represent the issue that you think it'd be worthwhile discussing. Okay?
To solve the puzzle, Stephen's told them to pull out any pieces they feel might shed some light on Helen's problem.
The infamous peas.
My earliest memory of rejecting a food was peas. I had traumatic experience being force-fed them. It's probably one of my earliest memories.
Have there been any other times at which Helen was made to eat things that she didn't want to eat?
I remember one by my mum. I remember being given a ham sandwich and I remember being told to eat it. I remember that quite vividly.
I could never understand that she wouldn't put it into her mouth. So you thought, well, you don't know if you like it because you haven't tried it. It becomes, in the end, it becomes a battle. And in the end, it wasn't worth winning, so I just gave up.
So we do pictures at home.
It's not as if the only experience Helen had of being made to eat something she didn't want happened on this one famous occasion. And I hadn't appreciated quite how significant this whole idea of them being locked in some kind of a power struggle probably was.
Having identified Helen's picky eating as a cause of tension in the family, Stephen probes deeper.
What are your perceptions of the way that it either has or hasn't affected the life of the family?
I think it sort of divides in a way, doesn't it, partly in the family, that some are having a go at her for it and then others of us are defending her, but I would always sort of protect the most vulnerable or the most one in need, I think, which at times I feel that Helen's left quite isolated by it.
There's one mum to go round a lot of people, and you know what we know about you when you're presented with foods that you're not comfortable with, you instantly go into what looks like a very classically vulnerable, quite young state.
The pieces of the jigsaw are falling into place for Stephen, and he's beginning to understand why Helen's tears have been so effective.
One of the things that came across really strongly is that actually Helen's eating issues do give her a particular identity within the family. She instantly becomes this very vulnerable, very regressed, helpless child who just screams, "Protect me, make it okay for me." But actually, as a strategy, at an unconscious level, it works quite well for Helen.
I don't purposefully sit there and think, I'm going to get attention if I cry. It's just the reaction I have. But thinking about it, I think when I was really, really small, that's probably what happens. And I think it's just been so conditioned into me that that is just my natural reaction now.
The next day in East London, Natalie meets up with Helen to find out how she's getting on.
How's it going with trying the new foods? Have you had any veg?
The vegetables are a struggle. I'm really struggling with those, to be honest.
So have you lapsed at all?
I have had a pizza and some chips as well.
OK, well, we certainly don't want you going down that route of the unhealthy fast food, the typical student thing. So I just happen to have up my sleeve something that's going to help us do that.
Natalie has brought Helen to a trendy East End eatery where the food may be fast, but it's served with the health conscious in mind.
So what I want to show you is that fast food doesn't have to be unhealthy food. So, loads of things on here. Why don't you just scan that menu for a sec?
No, I don't like it.
What did you just say? I don't like it?
Yeah.
You don't know that yet. The main thing I'd ask of you, Helen, is to just keep that open mind. So I've chosen a few things. for us to look at. So all vegetarian, so things presumably that you're willing to try.
No. Don't want anyone near me.
I'm getting the impression that you're not actually willing to try anything. Do you really want to do this?
I really want to change, but I just wish you could wave a magic wand.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, well, why don't we start with some peppers with some feta cheese on top?
Yeah.
So in theory, quite doable for you because of the cheese.
Yeah.
Okay. The worst that can happen, look, is that you spit it into there.
Yeah. I just had red pepper.
Yeah. Woohoo!
The excitement of actually being able to eat something makes it taste a bit better than.
Yeah.
It's good.
These are falafels, and you can get them in any kebab shop. I'm sure you'll be able to eat it. I think it's not something you'll have a problem with texture-wise or anything. You've just eaten chickpeas.
It's quite spicy.
You are turning to a real, proper, healthy vegetarian. Just go for it now. Carry on. Get that confidence right up there. Just keep building on what you've achieved.
Feels really good. Feels really good.
So can you see yourself going out with your friends, ordering foods like this and sitting down and having a little plateful like that?
I think not quite yet. I think I'm not quite at that stage yet, but if I practice, I can grow to like it. When Natalie laid all the food out in front of me, I thought there's no way I'd do any of it. But I did do it, and I'm really proud of myself, and I feel really good.
With me being really quite firm and with some patience, we finally got there in the end. But I can't be there sitting on her shoulder all the way, encouraging her to eat, and then being there for the final challenge. She's got to do this on her own.
It's been 3 weeks since Helen started her dietary makeover, and while she's managed a bit of fruit and raw veg, today will be her first hot meal without pasta. Soup.
Ooh, that looks horrible. It smells as well. Looks horrible.
Tell her that leek and potato is nice.
It is. It is nice.
Part of me hoping you don't like it.
You'll spend the afternoon cleaning up my vomit.
I'm not. No chance.
I know this is important for myself to eat this, but the texture of it, the smell of it, everything about it scares me, and I really don't want to put that in my mouth. That looks like sick. I can't eat that. It's really stupid because it's just soup. Can't eat that.
Don't want to try that on at all.
I really wasn't expecting it to look how it did and how it poured into the pan. It really, really reminded me of vomit, and I do feel really stupid.
The final challenge is looming, but unless Helen learns to overcome her anxiety, it's bound to end in tears. Stephen's gambling on a radical idea which will see Helen thrown in at the deep end.
Now, today I've got something planned for her which I know is going to be something of a stretch for her. But my hope is that if we can just coach her through it, I can prove to her that she is capable of taking on stressful situations without falling apart.
Stephen's brought Helen to Chester's aquarium, but it's not the fish that are on today's menu.
Now, a little bird has told me that fish aren't your favourite thing.
I don't like fish. I'm scared of fish.
Yeah? What would be your worst swimming thing?
Shark.
Because what we want to do today is actually get you kitted up in a wetsuit and put you in to the tank with them. all right? Now, we're not doing this just to be cruel to you or give you a hard time, all right? What I need you to do is handle the feelings that this experience is going to generate in you in a different way, okay? Right? Right, okay, all right. Now, I can see from your face that, you know, you're feeling this is going to be a huge, huge deal for you.
Scariest thing in the world.
And I can see, you know, if you can face the scariest thing in the world for you, you're certainly going to be able to deal with a few unfamiliar things on a plate in front of you, all right? She's going into the world that belongs to these sea creatures. There's not going to be anything she can do to control the environment. What she can do in this scenario is control herself. Now, in terms of managing these really overwhelming feelings that you can get, all right, you have to go in there in the knowledge that actually these are just feelings, all right? They're your feelings and you can control them. They don't have to control you.
Helen knows the sharks are strictly monitored and she's completely safe, but this doesn't help her anxiety. And when she's scared, the tears take over.
Helen, look at me. You're going to be fine. You are going to do it and you're going to be all right. I promise. I know you don't want to, but you will be fine, honestly. Helen is really, really anxious. I'm not entirely sure whether she's going to be able to get over this at the moment. She's saying at the moment she really just does not want to go. If she can, it will really help her. If she doesn't, it's just reinforcing for her that if she gets upset enough, she doesn't have to do the difficult thing. This is how you used to feel about all those things you're now cheerfully eating, right? You got past this feeling with those, and you can get past this feeling with this.
With Stephen's encouragement, Helen regains control and takes the plunge.
To be honest, I didn't think we were going to get her down there. She was so incredibly anxious beforehand, but the longer she can stay down there, you know, actually her anxiety will begin to sort of drop down. But, I mean, she is doing fantastically. It looks like Helen's about to have a visitor.
As the situation becomes more stressful, it's important Helen remains calm.
There is this huge, great shark, I think a sand shark, swimming within about 25 feet of her.
One of the sharks is beginning to circle. A panicked reaction now could draw unwanted attention.
Interestingly, the instructors are sort of talking between themselves because I think some questions about one of the sharks' behaviour, and clearly they're very anxious to make sure that Helen doesn't get completely spooked. Anything interesting down there? Big respect to you. Well done. Well done. I know you're going to be able to sort of draw on this experience next time you're facing a plate of food.
If I can do that, I can do anything.
It's kind of pretty much the size of it, isn't it? It really is. Yeah. You did fantastic. I'm so pleased.
I think now I've done that, I think I can do anything. And if someone puts a plate of food down in front of me, I will try it. But I'll always have that feeling of, you never know, I might like it.
With only a few days to go until her final meal, Natalie introduces a now fearless Helen to as many new foods as possible. It's Helen's last chance to get used to unfamiliar tastes before eating in front of her family.
I do believe that you've just eaten some cucumber.
You just ate courgette. It wasn't too bad.
You look like you quite liked it, if I may say so. At the beginning, it was like, oh, I'm not even going to try that. Whereas now, you're a bit more gung-ho about it, and that's the spirit. You can only succeed like that. I think Helen's taken away with her, more than anything, the confidence that she really can eat unfamiliar foods. And it's that confidence, I think, that will really give her the success that she's after.
It's exciting. I've never been excited by food before. It just feels incredible, really.
Just went for it, and you succeeded, and you can take that anywhere now. Here's to your progress so far.
The final challenge is tomorrow. And it only seems like yesterday when I started this process. I've gone through so much and I've tried so many things at the same time, it terrifies me, and I think, what am I letting myself in for? There's no way I can do this. I don't think I'm ready for it, to be honest.
It's the day of the big meal, and Helen's desperate to prove she can eat comfortably in a formal setting. Big sister Becky's arrived to help calm pre-dinner nerves and help Helen get glammed up for the event.
Can't wait to eat in a restaurant and have normal food with you. To see you eating something that other people eat, other people who are not freaks. I'm feeling a bit protective of Helen today. I want her to do well. I think that Helen will feel like a failure if she doesn't eat everything that's on her plate. And I don't want her to feel that way, because I think the fact that she's willing to try things is just such huge progress.
Today, it means everything to me, really. I'm feeling the pressure at the moment because I'm going to be in front of everyone. I'm going to be on show eating. I don't like doing that.
Natalie and Stephen have organised a formal event at a plush restaurant in the heart of London's swanky Mayfair, with her nan as guest of honour.
Hello.
Good, thank you.
Don't know, you can just do better.
It'll mean everything to me. It really will. I've longed and longed for her to eat properly.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please make your way through to the dining room, where dinner is about to be served.
This is the first time in Helen's adult life she's sat down with her family to eat a normal meal.
No pressure.
Do it
for you now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Helen's is the first meal out, and it's a mixed vegetable tartlet.
Thank you. I don't like mushrooms.
What about you eat the tomato then on this?
I don't like tomato. Come on then, let's dig in.
Are you going to eat your vegetables?
Give me a break. Can I have some of this first?
I think you should try some broccoli.
Does it taste like trees?
Exactly like trees.
Exactly.
How many trees have you eaten?
Where's the ketchup?
No ketchup. No ketchup. You're on your own.
Broccoli. It wouldn't go down. It's probably one of the best things I've tried so far.
Really?
A bit of ketchup and it'll be a bit better.
Everyone else has finished, but Helen's still struggling.
Strain's starting to show there, Helen.
That's because we're all looking at her. Let's look away. Admire the scene.
No, because she'll throw the food on the floor.
No, you're doing really well, babe.
All right. Yeah.
It would make you laugh at the wrong time.
What was it?
It was really green bit. Bit of everything.
Well done.
I think it meant so much to my family to sit there and actually watch me eat a proper meal and order something off the menu. My nan especially, you could see it in her eyes that she was so happy for me.
Yes, I'm very proud of what she's eaten. I mean, she had a blooming great plate full.
She sat there and she managed it all, and I was so impressed with her. Absolutely wonderful.
Helen, I just wanted to say, on behalf of everybody, how proud we are of everything you've done over the last few weeks. I never thought I'd see the day that you were eating these foods.
Helen.
I've almost forgotten Helen how she was before, because it just seems a lifetime away, and she seems like a grown-up woman in there, and no crying, no tears, like a baby.
I can just try things and I've never had that before. It's amazing.
Hello, hello.
1 month on, and Natalie's come round to see how Helen's getting on.
Pasta.
It's not mine.
It's not yours?
It's not mine.
Promise?
Yep, promise.
Don't tell me this shelf is yours here, with salad and mushrooms.
That's my shelf.
So Helen's shelf has no pasta. It has mushrooms, chives and mange too. Wow. I'm completely stunned. Helen has completely exceeded my expectations. I knew that she was making some sort of progress, but the sort of progress that she's made in the sort of time frame that we're talking about is absolutely unbelievable.
I think I've grown up since I started the challenge and the whole process. When I think back to how I used to be, I used to cry all the time and was so just immature, really.
Helen's introduced fruit and salads into her diet, but has she really managed to give up her beloved pasta?
Thank you. I am still eating pasta, but I'm varying it so much more now. And I haven't had pasta plain since I started this process, and I don't think I ever will again, to be honest. It's boring, it really is.
Click on screen for more videos of extraordinary humans.